Welcome to this explainer. Today we are unpacking what is honestly the absolute ultimate communication toolkit, Dale Carnegie's legendary guide, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And look, the principles we're exploring today, they aren't just some abstract pie-in-the-sky theories. These are highly practical, everyday tools that can literally change how you connect with absolutely everyone around you.
But before we get into the actual tactics, I want you to consider something. What is the secret to getting exactly what you want out of every interaction? Have you ever walked away from a conversation? Maybe you were asking for a raise or having a debate with a partner, and you just felt like you totally missed the mark, or that some weird friction completely derailed what you were actually trying to say. We have all experienced those frustrating communication failures. Well, the premise today is that successful interactions aren't accidental. Not at all. They're the result of specific, learnable frameworks that absolutely anyone can master.
Okay, let's dive right into this. What you're seeing is the master framework we'll be breaking down today. It's 27 distinct techniques organized into major relational categories. Now, I know it might look like a lot to take in at first glance, but don't worry. We're going to walk through this whole thing step by step so you can see exactly how these pieces seamlessly fit together.
Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the art of influence. Number 2, making people like you. Number 3, winning people over. And number 4, changing behavior without offense.
Starting with Section 1, the art of influence, your toolkit for human connection.
Which brings us right to Section 2, making people like you, building the foundation.
So to really understand influence, we have to recognize one fundamental truth. Human beings are driven by emotion and a really deep desire to be understood. You can't just force an agenda down someone's throat. You have to build a baseline of likability first. And the principles for this foundation, they're remarkably simple. First, become genuinely interested in others, and that requires actually putting in the time and the unselfish energy to care about them. Second, smile. It is literally the easiest way to disarm someone and make a killer first impression. And third, remember their names. To any person, their name is the absolute sweetest sound in any language. It requires actual concentration, so please, don't be that person who forgets a name 3 seconds after a handshake. Now, to deepen that initial connection, you have to give people the space to unburden themselves. How? By truly being a good listener. If you combine that by talking in terms of their interests, the things they genuinely treasure the most, and sincerely making them feel important, they won't just casually like you. They will eagerly listen to you for hours. It works like magic.
Let's move to Section 3, winning people over, aligning viewpoints.
So once someone actually likes you, navigating persuasion can still be pretty tricky. When we hit a wall or encounter friction, our default human behavior is often just to bluntly say, well, you're wrong. But think about how you feel when someone does that to you. It instantly triggers this massive defensive wall. Carnegie's method flips this entirely. You need to show absolute respect for their opinions. Never, ever tell someone they are wrong. Honestly, the only true way to get the best of an argument is just to avoid it entirely.
This brings us to a really profound foundational truth, perfectly captured by Galileo. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it within himself. Let that sink in for a second. You simply cannot force agreement. True persuasion is about guiding someone so gently that they arrive at the conclusion on their own terms.
So, how do we guide them effectively? We do it by using some vital de-escalation tactics. First, like we just mentioned, avoid arguments completely. Just don't engage in them. Second, if you are wrong, admit it, and admit it quickly and emphatically. Look, I know it's tough to swallow your pride, but doing so completely deflates the tension in the room. And third, always begin in a friendly way. As the source wisely points out, a drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall. Friendliness disarms resistance way faster than cold, hard logic ever will. Another incredibly strategic technique is getting the other person to say yes, yes immediately. The source references a proverb highlighting that he who treads softly goes far. By intentionally starting your conversation with points you both already agree on, you get them saying yes right out of the gate. This naturally builds this amazing positive momentum and sets a collaborative tone rather than an adversarial one.
Building on that sense of collaboration, you have to be willing to step back and let them do a great deal of the talking. Plant the seed of your goal, sure, but let them feel that the idea is genuinely theirs. Nobody likes being told what to do, right? But if they claim ownership, they will absolutely champion the idea for you. To pull this off, you must try honestly to see things from their point of view. Empathy is an absolute game changer for winning people over.
To round out our persuasion toolkit, be deeply sympathetic with their ideas and desires, because everyone, everywhere,
hungers for sympathy. Then, appeal to their noble motives. Make them want to be the best version of themselves. You also want to dramatize your ideas. Make them visually and emotionally compelling, rather than just reciting a list of dry facts. And finally, throw down a challenge. Whether you're in a competitive workplace or just trying to manage things at home, people love the game. They love a chance to prove themselves.
Section 4. Changing behavior without offense. Giving feedback gracefully.
All right, this is arguably the most difficult phase of any human interaction. How on earth do you correct a mistake without causing immediate resentment? First, you set a positive baseline with honest appreciation and praise. Then, call attention to mistakes indirectly rather than pointing a harsh finger. But most importantly, and this is huge, talk about your own mistakes first. Actually, scratch that. Talk about your mistakes openly. Acknowledging your own flaws drastically softens the blow of any feedback you're about to give.
Think about it. How does it actually feel to be given a direct order? It causes immediate friction. It hurts our pride. Instead of barking orders, try asking questions. Asking a question naturally invites the other person into a collaborative, problem-solving process. It stops treating them like a subordinate who simply must obey and treats them like a partner.
As you're managing this behavioral change, you absolutely have to protect their ego at all costs. Always, always let them save face. From there, praise the absolute slightest improvement. You want to positively reward the exact behavior you want to see more of. And here is a brilliantly powerful trick. Give them a fine reputation to live up to. If you treat someone as if they are already highly capable and excellent, they will often bend over backward to prove you right.
So the crucial point of all this is remarkably simple. Make the fault seem easy to correct and make them happy doing what you suggest. If you've praised them, if you've let them save face, and you've actively listened, behavioral change shouldn't feel like a punishment at all. It just feels like an easy, mutually beneficial adjustment.
And this brilliantly illustrates our entire journey today. When we look back at the complete relational roadmap, you can clearly see how all 27 techniques interlock like a giant puzzle. From the basic smile that builds a likable foundation to avoiding arguments so you can align viewpoints, all the way to gracefully changing behavior. It's the whole shebang, a complete, holistic, relational toolkit.
We've covered a ton of ground today, but knowing these principles, that is only half the battle. Applying them is where the real magic happens. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Out of these 27 techniques we just explored, which single one are you going to intentionally use in your very next interaction tomorrow?